Story 1. New manager putting productivity over everything.
I worked at a call center of nurses to give advice on whether the caller needed to go to the ER, GP, manage symptoms at home, etc. As it's health advice, it's crucial to document everything, because if someone was, for example, instructed to stay at home while exhibiting clear stroke symptoms, we'd be responsible. Well, a new manager was hired above our own floor manager to increase productivity as the number of calls increased rapidly, beginning of COVID. She felt it was necessary to reduce the time we spent on finishing on documenting after the call had ended. In addition to medical records, we had to fill out a short questionnaire about each call to monitor the reasons people call us, internal purposes, not really my expertise. So, it obviously took a while. Average time I think was around 3 minutes after each call. The new manager informed us that 90 seconds was going to be enough, and she had asked the IT department to make the program push us a new call after those 90 seconds whether we were ready or not. The call would ring, loudly, first on headphones and after 10 seconds on the computer's sound system. New patient information screen popped up, everything unfinished was pushed to the back, and we had to either decline the call, only allowed in emergencies, or let it ring and try and work over the ringing which could not be muted. It was horrible, the noise was unbearable, and just in a few hours we workers complained so much that the new manager just told us to take the new call and finish up the old one while talking to the new patient. Cue malicious compliance. Patient information law, similar to HIPAA in the US, violations. Here we come, having two patients' info up at the same time, trying to figure out why the latter called and wrapping up the previous one. How many documentations were written on the wrong patient's records? We tried. It was even worse than before. It took us about an hour to realize it would never work, and so we took the new call, asked them to wait for a second, muted the call, and finished up the previous one. The customers were not happy, but us workers gladly directed them to avenues to give feedback through. The company got so many bad reviews and online complaints in the first 6 hours that they had to regroup and stay late on that Monday evening to undo everything. We went back to normal on Tuesday, 2 hours later than we should have opened, due to reprogramming. The new manager was with us less than 3 months, don't miss her a bit. I had the most chaotic, headache-inducing 5 hours of my life that day, still have nightmares of that ringtone.
Comment 1. Almost a lifetime ago, my first real job was a call center. PC warranty. When they asked the same shit from us, I kept it simple. I recapped the call with the customer before hanging up. Call time was up, but I had time to spare. I was a bit overqualified. They didn't like it, but not much they could do to performer. So happy I'm not there anymore.
Comment 2. I worked several call centers. I had so many higher-ups not understand that 90 seconds is not enough time to get the information you need to even start the freaking call, let alone leave the customer happy. Thank you for calling X Bank. Can I have your 16-digit account hashtag? Your name? Your mother's maiden name? Before we begin, your balance as of today is X. Your last payment of X was received on X, and your next payment of X is due on X. If you haven't already signed up for paperless billing, please let me know before the call is over and I can do that for you. Automatic payments are also available. Please let me know and I can set the up for you as well. Please be advised all calls are monitored and may be recorded for quality purposes. At the end of this call, there will be a survey. Please don't hang up so you can complete it. What is the reason for your call today? Dude, there's 60 seconds gone, and you haven't even heard them explain why they called yet. I can't even imagine trying to help someone with a complex medical issue. Comment 3. This is just a piss-poor management style. I completely accept that our job is to be productive and complete as much work as possible over the shortest period possible, but that doesn't happen in the long term by burning people out. Yep, you can get short bursts of increases productivity from people, but this will dip below average upon burnout, averaging out the work completed or reducing. Having a happy, well-looked-after team creates harmony and balance, giving you a longer life workforce.
Comment 4. I'm amazed it lasted that long. Willful HIPAA violations are guaranteed fines, even if self-reported. I can't say anything for certain, But I suspect that one day of doing things the wrong way cost the company a good bit more than the obvious issues. Comment 5. I remember calling a Health and being directed to take my 5-year-old daughter to a hospital whose pediatric unit had closed for the night 3 hours ago. The triage nurse was as livid as I was.
Comment 6. I was the call center manager. Policy was, ignore the wait time, get each call done right. I could take the wait time data to upper MGMT and say, accept these wait times or get me more people. Upper MGMT had no benchmark of how long an average call should take. But if calls were done wrong, customers would complain and we would look incompetent. Upper management will not increase staff in a department where existing staff is seen as incompetent.
Story 2, Boss. I don't need your input. Just do what I say.
So, my wife is having some issues at her work with multiple people of different levels of management telling her different things to do depending on who's the manager on duty at the moment. I said she should do what the acting manager told her to do, and when another manager came on duty, complaining about what she was doing, to relay what the previous manager had told her and to let them work it out. I also said that she should document everything so that she could relate it to HR if it became necessary to do so. I then explained to her about malicious compliance and what it meant. This started me thinking about an incident at my old job at a manufacturing plant about 12 years ago. The building had 2 areas, a production/packaging area, and an attached shipping/receiving warehouse. The production area was air-conditioned/heated. The warehouse was heated, but only had roof exhaust fans and no AC, so it got pretty hot in the summer, but was bearable. We just moved slower. On end of Friday we closed all the dock doors and shut off the exhaust fans and closed the overhead door that separated the warehouse from the production areas. During the week the overhead was open but had those plastic flap strips you could drive a forklift through to keep the cool air in production. One Friday the newish manager, who spent little actual time in that building, told us that we should keep the fans on and the separation overhead door open during the weekend to keep the temperature cooler in the warehouse. Why he cared I really can't fathom. We tried to explain to him that with the dock doors closed the roof fans would simply suck all of the cold air out of the production area, but he blew us off with the standard, you will do as I instruct you to do. So, QMC, Monday comes that morning in July and it was hot as hell in the production area. The warehouse was the same temperature as always, and the coils on the production AC units had frozen and we had to have people to come out and service them. All the manager had to say was, keep that separation overhead door closed at all times.
Comment 1. Keep us updated on if she does any MC. I feel bad for her. I had managers like that pulled me from my department, then I'd get an unofficial talking to for not being in my department. I didn't mind helping others, but getting a line of people angry because they weren't helped fast and being told I needed to somehow not be found by managers and stay in my department was very frustrating. Comment 2. I said she should do what the acting manager told her to do, and when another manager came on duty complaining about what she was doing, to relay what the previous manager had told her and to let them work it out. I also said that she should document everything so that she could relate it to HR if it became necessary to do so. Either get it in writing or insist they send you an email with the directive. Comment 3. The last words my ex-boss said to me, "What is it going to take for you to shut up and do your job?" were the last words he spoke to me.
Comment 4. I mean, it was kind of silly/short-sighted of your boss, but I kind of sounds like he was just trying to make the warehouse cooler. Comment 5. When dealing with idiot managers, always get it in writing.
Comment 6. A former big boss was amazing and I've always tried to follow his principle. He had managers for a reason. If he didn't like their decision he'd talk to them, not blame the person doing what they were told to do. But I also had a boss who put lives in jeopardy because when we questioned him he just said, "I'm boss."
Story 3. Insist on your mileage sheets monthly? Okay, boss. You'll get your paperwork in spades. Resubmitted because of deletion.
Resubmission because the last one accidentally got deleted somehow. True story regarding the beautiful Emerald Isle and petty revenge on an overbearing newly promoted boss. Apologies if it's a long read. This beautiful country of ours has a fairly low population density generally for reasons dating back to the infamous famine. Watch Black 47 for reference. It also, however, has layer upon layer of civil servants and bureaucracy. We have a beautiful system of government where we have 2 houses and a representative for every 30,000 people as a fact of law. Underneath that we have a local government system with local authorities in each county and city, each with their own elected councillors and administration. Planning, fire safety, roads, refuse collection and some other things are administrated by these local councils, which leads to the public service being the largest employers in the country. All in an island with a southern republic that has with an area of 26,000 square miles with at the time about 31 or 32 local authorities and a population of 5.5 million plus or minus. It's totally over the top, but that's a discussion for another day. Anyhow, while working for one such local authority as a senior executive engineer, a fire officer, my good friend, an extremely intelligent civil engineer, had the misfortune of being gifted with a new boss, a spanking clean, brand new in box, county engineer in his first role in that position. Full of the proverbial PS and vinegar. Now this particular county was landlocked by other counties and is a particularly odd shape with a brand new motorway going through it. There are many parts of the county that the only way to get to by road is through other counties. This is important. Most staff used their own cars, and once a month you filled out your mileage sheets, sent it to your direct line manager for sign-off, who sent it up the chain and claimed it back at a rate of so much per mile. It was often a nice addition to the paycheck and more than covered the cost of maintaining and running the vehicle. If you crossed your LA's boundary, you had to fill out another sheet explaining why and get it signed off by your line manager. Under their previous boss, they had devised a system where no one had to bother with the mileage sheets necessarily on a monthly basis and could let it slide for a few months and then submit them all together and get a nice bonus in one lump. Nice if you had a special occasion or a holiday coming up. An easy savings plan, if you will. No one bothered with the second sheet because you crossed the boundary so many times a week that they became irrelevant. Hugh knew boss's arrival, who insisted on doing everything by the book. Didn't like the way that things worked previously and was going to sort it all out, straighten out everything and kick everyone into line. He called everyone into a meeting, explained what he was doing in his best authoritative manner and insisted on monthly submittal of all expenses and mileage sheets and everything listed down to the finest detail, including reasons for your trips, etc. And they had to be explained fully and in detail, otherwise the mileage sheets would be sent back and signed. My friend and the rest of the staff went away from the meeting wondering how they were going to deal with this new way of working. After a few days stewing, my friend came up with a solution to the issue and then called his workmates. They had a little discussion amongst themselves about how to deal with things and came up with a plan for petty revenge. Everyone under the direction of the new boss found that the extreme ends of the county is where they were needed to work that month. The staff then slightly redesigned all of their trips so that they crossed county boundaries multiple times a day, 6 days a week. At the end of month 1, this plan culminated with the submission of thousands of permission confirmation sheets to cross the county boundary to be signed by the new CE after his first month. It took him over 4 weeks to get through that batch, and on week 4, after receiving the second month's batch, all the senior staff were called into a meeting, the agenda of which was kept very hush-hush. The only thing that ever came out of that meeting was a quiet word from the senior staff that everything was going back to the way it used to work. A perfect teaching moment and petty revenge combined. TLDR, new broom boss makes changes to the paperwork systems in place. Staff get revenge for losing out on an unofficial simple savings plan by complying with absolutely every requirement, and he ends up under a paper mountain his first month. Everything goes back to the way it was after 5 weeks.
Comment 1. Classic Chesterton's fence moment. Never change a rule unless you know why the rule is in place, even, and sometimes especially, if it's an informal rule. Boss should have asked, "Why isn't this done by the book?" rather than demanded be done by the book.
Comment 2. Lad from Westmeath had notions. Lad from Westmeath no longer has notions. Comment 3. This is also just so Irish. I love it. Good for you.